Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. I'm so glad you're here for Friday or Fri-YAY Par-TAY. I actually really love this. I know it seems crazy, but I love when you all say, hey, out of nowhere, how do you answer this? It keeps me on my toes and it makes sure that I always, know all this stuff that I'm teaching you. So let's start with to make sure. Does anybody have any questions? And if nobody has any questions, then I brought some questions that we'll go over to kind of get used to breaking down some of this stuff. But first, I want to make sure you all can see me, you can hear me, say hi in the chat, just so I know I'm not talking to myself. And yes, I know I have Afro puffs today, but it was a day. It was a day. I've been running around. It's been a day. So anybody have something? Hey, Marsha. Hey, Dinah. You can see and hear me. Hello, Gwen. Hello, hello. So, yeah. Anybody got? You take your test in 45 minutes? What? Okay, so taking your test in 45 minutes. What can I answer for you? Because we are all there in spirit. We are all there in spirit with you. So what do you have? What do you need? Hello, Nature Man. Destiny, before I go on to anything else, and I know there's a little bit of a delay, just tell me, is there something you need me to go over? Hey, so finally made a Fri-YAY Par-TAY. That means you get a... We love that. We love it. It's a partay. It's a partay. It's a partay. All right. Yes. Oh, see. You said, if I said, you said you're going to do something that you did to the crash course. Remind me what it is. Remind me what I said I was going to do. I don't know. I teach so many classes. I said I was going to do something that I did for the crash course. Was it math? Does anybody remember what I said I would do? Some materials. Okay, yeah. But which materials? I'm going to go over some questions today. I do have some questions, but was there anything in specific that I said I was going to do besides questions that I was going to bring? Math and vocab. Math and vocab. So I can do some math and some vocab. And when we do the question breakdown, we'll be talking about vocab. And yes, Andrea, you are going to pass tomorrow. I love that. Destiny's going to pass today, and Andrea, you're going to pass tomorrow. I told you to remember. I know. I told you to remember, but I got to give myself better hints from you all. I do. All right. KJ Dimple Diva. Give me a math topic, and I will do a math question. Otherwise, yeah. You keep having trouble with the calculations. You've taken the test now twice, and the calculations are getting you. Well, it makes sense. I just need a more definite. And there's no math in California. Something I did on the crash course. Marsha, you're passing tomorrow too? Woo, woo. Man, that was a 7.5-hour crash course. I don't remember. All right, why don't we start with some questions that I have. Then, KJ Dimple and Nature Man Lee. While we're doing those questions, think about what it is, like what type of math questions you want me to go over, and I will make sure that I cover that. So let me go to a different screen here. Boop. So here are some questions that I usually use, and we'll do more than the ones I usually do, but I use these to say, hey guys, when you use a question, when you are looking at a question, you don't want to just say what is the right answer. You want to know why the right answer is right and why the wrong answers are wrong, because knowing why the wrong answers are wrong are about picking up those details. So let's look at number 1. Eminent domain, taxation, police power, and a sheet are. Eminent domain, taxation, police power, and a sheet are. Is it 1, restrictions on the ownership of real property? Is it 2, benefits belonging to the owner of real property? Is it 3, private restrictions on personal property? Or is it 4, let me make it so you can see it, factors that affect only owners of land abutting government-owned property? Now, y'all know what I want you to do. I want you to put a 1, 2, 3, or 4, or an A, B, C, or D in the chat. So go ahead and tell me what it is you think the answer is here to number 1. All right, Haley says 1, Andrea says 1, Marcia says 4, Dina says 1. Nature, okay. We'll come back to that, Nature Man. I will be able to, at the end it goes. All right, 1 seems best. We got lots of 1s. That's a 1. Quick question for land. Is it both sales approach? Land is only sales comparison approach, Destiny. All right, so you all are telling me the answer is 1. All right, we like the answer of 1. And if that is true, why is 2 incorrect? So if you all are telling me that 1 is correct, then there's something about 2 that makes it incorrect. What is it about the answer 2, or B, that is wrong? What's wrong with that statement? Because that will make a really great true or false question. Is it true that eminent domain, taxation, police power, and escheat are benefits belonging to the owner of real property? They are not benefits. Exactly. Yes, exactly. They are not benefits. That's why that can't be the answer. I don't know about you, but eminent domain does not necessarily benefit me, or taxation or police power and, a sheet. I'm not saying it doesn't benefit the government, but I wouldn't call it a benefit to the owner, right? So now we know 1 is not the answer. What about 3? What is it about 3? What's wrong with the 3 answer? What's wrong with this one? Why is that? If you're sure 1 is the answer, then there's got to be a falsehood about 3. Right? It's real property, not personal property. All right? So we know it's not personal property. This has to do with real property. Anything else? I mean, that is awesome. Yes, it's about real we're talking about real property, but there's something else about this answer that is incorrect as well. Anybody? They're not private restrictions. They are public restrictions. And so the fact that you get these little details, this is how you learn how to figure out, okay, you know how you all can say, oh, I get it down to 2 answers, but then I'm struggling to figure out which of the 2 answers it is. This is how you do it. You got to come down and get to the nitty gritty of each answer. All right, let's try number 4. What's wrong with number 4? If number 1 is right, what is wrong with number 4? Factors that affect only owners of land abutting government-owned property. What's wrong with that? And 4 was eliminated in your mind for not knowing what abutting means. So I see you. So abutting means next to. Abutting is like when you abut something, you're right next to it. And Gwen, you are 100%. Gwen, you are killing it. I love it. Gwen's correct. It's not only owners of land that are next to government-owned property. These are the 4 powers of government for any real property. Any real property. So, yeah, 4 can't be right either. So that means, yes, we are absolutely positively sure that the answer is 1, right? So there you go. I know it takes longer to do it, but the more you answer your questions this way and you figure out, okay, what is wrong with the other 3? I promise you, the better you're going to get at getting these questions right. All right, let's try number 2. For a deed to be valid, which of the following must occur? Is it 1, there must be manual delivery of the deed. 2, the deed must be signed by the grantor and grantee and then recorded. 3, the deed must have a defeasance clause. Or 4, the deed must be in writing. Which one you got? All right. Now I've got a 4. Got a 4. Got 2 people telling me 4. Got a 4. Got a 4. All right, so you all are telling me the answer is 4. We like this. Okay. So if that is true, what's wrong with number 1? And you know what? To save time, if you all want, you can tell me why you didn't choose 1, 2, or 3. Go ahead and share that with your classmates. What is wrong with number 1? What is wrong with number 2? What is wrong with number 3? And let's talk about it. What do you have? I know I ask you all these questions and then I don't give you even time to answer them. I'm sorry. I should give you all more time to answer. Now, Jesse said it does not need to be manually delivered. Yeah, for number 1, it doesn't have to be manually delivered. It could be electronically delivered. So yeah, that's why number 1 doesn't work. Good job. Now, Dina, it does have to be delivered. It just doesn't have to be manually delivered. It could happen electronically. All right. Andrea, you said only the grantor needs to sign. Exactly. It must be signed by the grantor, but not the grantee, and it doesn't have to be recorded. We might record because the recording gives you the protection of the law, but it only has to be signed by the grantor. It's probably a good idea to record it, but you don't have to. So that makes 2 wrong. And number 3 says the deed must have a defeasance clause. Can anybody tell me what the defeasance clause is? So Andrea, you are correct. You don't have to have the defeasance clause, but what is it? Of course, so this is why we're doing this. This is why we do it, to break it down. All right. Well, the defeasance clause is a condition, but it's saying something has to happen. We've seen this word defease before. We've seen defease when we talk about defeasible estates. So what's it mean when something's a defeasible estate? Well, is it defeasible? I think it's an I. Is it an A? Defeasible. I don't know what this vowel is right there, but still. A defeasible estate, remember, that's one where you might lose ownership of the property. Yes, if you do this, you lose that land. So the defeasance clause, where you learned about the clause, was in a collateral document. So that was either the deed of trust or the mortgage. And it basically says, look, bank, any interest you have on my property should end. It should end when I finish paying you off. So this has to do with collateral, and that has nothing to do with a deed being valid. So that's not the answer, making most definitely our answer for the deed has to be in writing. What is the name of the act that says certain contracts, including a transfer of real estate, have to be in writing? What is the name of that act that says certain things need to be in writing? Ooh. Statute of Frauds. Love that. Yay. That is the statute. I can spell Statute of Frauds. We love that. Yay. Very good. All right. Let's do number 3. Which of the following statements is true concerning a general warranty deed? Which of the following statements is true? And that means when I see a question like this true is telling me, okay, there's going to be 3 false statements and 1 true statement. So I can put a T and F, a T and F, a T and F next to each of them. So what do you think the answer is? What do we think the answer is? Is it 1, it must be signed by the grantee if he or she is a trust beneficiary? 2, it ensures title. 3, the grantor's warranty is limited to his or her own acts only during the time the grantor was in possession of the title. Or 4, it is the most protective deed a grantee can receive. All right, Andrea's telling me it's 4. Now, Andrea, if you're telling me it's 4, you already know that I'm going to say, tell me why the other ones are wrong. Haley is telling me it's 2. Gwen and Elena think it's 4. Give me some reasonings. If you think 4 is the answer, why? If you think 2 is the answer, why are the other ones wrong? Break it down. And anybody can put anything. Like, if you think 4 is the answer, tell me why you think 1, 2, or 3 is wrong. If you think 2 is the answer, why do you think 4 is wrong, or 3 is wrong, or 1 is wrong? Do, 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 do. Boo, ba-doo, boo, boo. Marsha, you think it's 2. Okay. So thinks it's 2. So for people that think it's 2, what makes 4 wrong? For people that you think it's 4, what would make 2 wrong? Because you can't have 2 right answers. So something about one of those 2 answers is incorrect. Now, nobody has said 1 yet. So you all have not said 1. It must be signed by the grantee if he or she is a trust beneficiary. Well, we got a couple things wrong with this. First, the grantor has to sign. And this whole idea of a trust beneficiary, that has to do with that deed of trust. So yeah, nope, this isn't the answer. You all knew 1 wasn't the answer. And nobody said 3. All right? Hey, Jasmine, that is why I'm here. Jasmine, I am doing this so that you all, even if you don't have the money, I want to give you all a chance to be able to talk to a live teacher regardless of money. All right? All right, so Elena says 4 is right because it is the most protective deed a grantee can receive. And that's cool, but why is 2 not the answer? Why is 3 not the answer? So let's talk about 3. A grantor's warranty is limited to his or her own acts only during the time the grantor was in possession of title. That is a great answer to another question. This answers what is a special warranty deed. That is the answer to what is a special warranty deed, not what is a general warranty deed. So that can't be the answer. Remember, in a general warranty deed, you are giving, you're giving a promise that it doesn't matter who says they're coming to, that something is messed up, the title, they've got a claim on title. It doesn't matter if they're saying it's while I had it, if I was giving you my property, or the person before me had it, or the person before me had a problem before the person that had it before me, you know what I'm trying to say? I'm covering everything. That's what a general warranty deed is saying. So, it's not 3. And you know why it's not 2? Because you know what insures title? Title insurance. Yes, you get the warranties and the covenants, but that's not an insurance policy. A seller is saying, hey, if something is wrong, I will do my best to make it up. But remember, insurance, whether it's health insurance, car insurance, title insurance, is about paying you when something goes wrong. So that would be title insurance. And even if you said, well, the seller in making it right would have to give me money, well, this is still the best answer. The best answer is here. The devil is in the details, y'all, and I'm hoping that you all understand. Let's see. For 2 being wrong, maybe nothing is 100% to insure title. I mean, and that's true, Gwen. Nothing is 100% going to insure everything, but at least it's an insurance policy, right? It's an insurance policy. And Jasmine, you're exactly right. 100% the answer was 4. All right, let's try number 4, speaking of. After a buyer purchases a property, she has a survey made and finds that her neighbor, through error, has recently built an ornamental fence 2 feet onto her land. This would be a basic example of what? You've got a fence that's on, that's on your land. Is it a party wall? Is it encroachment? Is it an appurtenance? Or is it adverse possession? All right, we got lots of twos. Oh, Clifton's giving me a 4. 2, 2, 2. 1, 1, 1, 1. That ditty song that gets on my nerves. Okay, most of you all are saying the answer is 2, an encroachment. That's what most of you all are telling me. Now, if the answer is 2, an encroachment, what's the definition of a party wall? What's the definition of an appurtenance? And what do we need to know about adverse possession? Somebody tell me what those other things are so I know, okay, you know what? Actually, this isn't going to work. What is a party wall? What is an appurtenance? And what is adverse possession? Put your answer in the chat. Ooh, good job, Haley. An appurtenance is something that runs with the land. An appurtenance is something that runs with the land. Some rights in some states are going to be appurtenant. When you have an appurtenant easement, it runs with the dominant tenement, the dominant property. So yeah, the answer is not appurtenant because it's something that runs with the land. And yeah, it's not going to be work. That's not going to be right. Nature Man Lee says a party wall is shared with 2 properties. Yes, it is. Why did I write yes? But that's not what I wanted to say. Boop, boop, boop. I wanted to say shared wall. That's a shared wall. That's not our answer. An adverse possession. Adverse possession. Well, adverse possession, just in general, that's the concept of you use it long enough and it becomes somebody else's. Is the fact that there's an encroachment going on going to be part of it? Yes. But adverse possession is about changing ownership, right? And I thought somebody saw it. Andrea, you said adverse possession is when you acquire the right to a specific piece of land, right? So you're acquiring the right to ownership because you followed the requirements of adverse possession, which is ocean. Open. Your use was open, continuous, exclusive, adverse, and notorious. If you can prove ocean, then you have adverse possession, and then there is a new owner. That's not how you spell own. There's a new owner if they meet those qualifications, and that's not what we're talking about. Oops. So our answer is not adverse possession. Once again, you all were correct. Our answer is an encroachment. And yes, adverse possession is hostile. So sometimes when I teach, I'll teach open as high ocean. Right? That's an A. You just can't tell. I just, flub that a little bit. But this H stands for hostile, which this A can be adverse. As long as you get the point, you never have permission, it works. Okay, let's move on to number 5. Is this helping? Is this helping, guys? Let me know. Because if you all like this, what I was thinking about doing every week is having some questions, not the same questions, but questions you've never seen before, and kind of breaking them down. All right, cool. Then that's what we'll do on our Fri-YAY Par-TAY. That's because you've never seen these questions. All right, next one. The grantor delivers a signed deed to her attorney, but the grantee's name is omitted. The grantor dies before any name is inserted. The deed is what? The grantor delivers a signed deed to her attorney, but the grantee's name is omitted. The grantor dies before any name is inserted. The deed is what? Is it 1, invalid when made, but valid when the grantee fills in his or her name? 2, invalid when made, but valid when recorded. 3, valid if the deed is delivered to the grantee. Or 4, invalid. Omitted. Omitted means it's not there. It's not there. It was left off or left out. Omitted, like the word omission is when you were supposed to say something but you didn't. You're supposed to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Like the whole truth. You can't be cherry picking what you're telling and what you're not telling. Right? All right, so we have one person that thinks the answer is 4. We got a 3, we got a 4, we got a 4. All right. So we're thinking that it's 4. But if you think it is 4, what is wrong with 1, 2, or 3? Grantor and grantee's name both need to be on the deed. That is right. And Haley, I mean, I think you kind of hit it. You hit it with that one statement. Number 1 says invalid when made, but valid when the grantee fills in. The grantee should not be filling in their name on this title. This is like a blank check. Like, this is not how any of this works. Thank you, Andrea. You are 100% correct. Yes, you think the deed needs to be delivered and accepted, but because the name was never there, the deed was invalid to begin with. Yes, that's why 1 doesn't work. The grantee is not filling in their name. Invalid when made, but valid when recorded. What are you recording? There's no grantee. No grantee means no deed. That's a no. Valid if the deed is delivered to the grantee. Well, it would be delivered, but who is the grantee? Who are you delivering it to? There's no name. So no, our answer has to be 4, invalid. Our 4, yeah. You just feel like the dude is also dead. So, and you know what, Celso? Yes. If it hasn't been completed before he dies, then it doesn't count. So there you go. All right, Andrea, you are killing it, and we love it. Killing it in a good way. All right, number 6. If an option is due to expire on July 15th and the owner of the property dies on July 5th, the option is what? If an option is due to expire on July 15th and the owner of the property dies on July 5th, the option is A, binding on the heirs, 2, valid but must be exercised within the statutory period, 3, void, or 4, voidable. Ooh, this one's a hard one. What are we thinking and why? What are we thinking and why? We got a 3, we got a 4, we got a 3. 3, 4, 3. What do we have? We got a 3. Got a 4. So tell me why. You already know I'm going to ask this. Why would 3 or 4 be the wrong answer if you don't think it's the answer? What is wrong with the wrong answers? Tell me what you know about options. More importantly, tell me what is an option. All right. Let's see. A contract becomes void if one party dies and can't fulfill the terms of a contract. So that is not necessarily true, Andrea, because in a sales contract, if we weren't talking about options, we're talking about a sales contract. Let's say I'm supposed to buy a house from this old couple. And they're supposed, it's where they've lived for the last 70 years, and I'm going to buy this property. And we get under contract, and before we can close, the older couple dies peacefully in their sleep, right? Their heirs still need to honor the contract. There is usually a line in the contract that says, even if the person dies, they're still going to have to honor. All right. Okay, so you all said you went with the same theory. That's you, so. Dude is dead and it's not a sales contract. And Dina, you said death doesn't death cancel some sort of contract. Okay, so you all are on the right path. So let's talk about this. Let me switch screens for a second. Remember, death, it does not terminate contracts in general. Just a contract in general, it's not going to be terminated by death. But you know what is? Becomes terminated, goes dead. I know it does terminate. I'm going to put it that way. Agency contracts, service, like personal service contracts, like, hey, I'm going to hire you to do something. Well, if the person's dead, you can't force them to do it. And then you're going to have offers. These things these end with death. Does not end. All right? So, yeah, remember, if it's an option, let's say we got this piece of land here, right? And you got Farmer Bob. Well, there is a contract between Farmer Bob and the seller and the buyer, Betty Lou. I'm going to call her Betty Lou Yoo-Hoo because that's one of my favorite names. I don't know why. Right? Betty Lou Yoo-Hoo. She's the buyer. And in an option, there is a legitimate option contract. There is a piece of paper. And we know that option contract says, hey, the buyer has the right to buy. That's what that contract says. The buyer has the right to buy. This seller cannot change their mind. This is a contract to hold the offer open. Hold the offer open. And since you're holding the offer open and you can be held to it, you're under contract. Remember, the option says, hey, Betty Lou might say, here's $15,000. And for the next 2 months, if Betty wants to buy, so there's a if Betty wants to buy, then Bob must sell. This is where the contract comes in. We're forcing Bob to sell. If Bob is like, oh, that was 2 months ago, I've changed as a person. Bob, you signed a contract. You still need to do what you said you were going to do. Hey, Bean, you still need to do what you said you're going to do. So, first of all, any questions on that? Any questions on what an option is and what it says? Let's clear that up. And this is why I love breaking down the questions. Because when you break it down, it's not just about that one piece of information. We should be verifying and understanding everything. All right. All right, so nobody seems to have a question on that. So let's go back to our questions itself. So if the option is due to expire on July 15th and the owner dies on July 5th, well, we're going to say it's binding on the heirs. Why? Because, well, let's look at 2. There's no statutory period. This was actually set, that period, which is a time being of the essence, time of essence, that is negotiated. That's part of the negotiations to see if the seller is going to accept this option contract. Right? It's not void because it's just not. And it's not voidable because we know that the contracts are binding on heirs. Hate to break it to you, but if you've got student loan debt and you die, your heirs are going to be paying that. Yep, you still owe that money. You do. All right, any questions on that? Give me a thumbs up if you're still here. And I was going to see if you all wanted me to do some math now. I did promise some math. So if you want me to do some math, either just put into the chat questions or math. And I'll go with what's most popular. Questions, more questions, or math. Let's see what you all want to do. Points. We got 2 points and 2 questions. Okay, that's only 4 answers, guys. We got to break it. We got to break this tie. Got to break. Okay, we got questions in the lead. We'll give it another minute right now. Questions is in the lead with 3. Now, if we end up doing points, like the math on the points, well, then we can always look. Y'all can always look at my YouTube page, because I know I have lots of videos talking about points. And also, remember, I will always start a session with, okay, is there something we absolutely positively need to go over? And then when I'm saying, hey, guys, put that in the chat, put it down first. All right, we do have a question here. When there is an option, does one have a set period to opt in, and then it usually expires? Well, Haley, you all negotiate that time period for the option. So I might give you $200 for 3 days. I might give you $15,000 for 3 months. I might give you $100,000 for 5 years. It all depends on what that buyer and possible seller, say, or that seller and possible buyer really say. Because the seller does have to sell if the buyer wants it, but the buyer does not have to buy. All right, so let's see. How many answers do I have for questions? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 for questions. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 for math. Wait, 1. Y'all are going to make this hard, huh? Math. Let's get questions. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for questions, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're doing questions. But let me just say this, if we're doing questions, remember really quickly, 1 point is equal to 1% of the loan amount, and it moves an interest rate 1/8%. It can go down or it can go up. All right? It can go down or it can go up. So if I have a loan at 5% and I pay 1 point, my new loan is at 4 7/8. If I pay another point, my new loan is at 4 6/8. So that's what a point is about. It's about lowering your interest rate. Right? Now, if you're getting a lower interest rate, they might charge you points to make up the difference, but either way, it's moving an interest rate 1/8%, which is 0.125%. So I'll just make that real quick there. Let's do some more questions. Number 7. When an option states nothing to the contrary, the option states nothing to the contrary, which is ordinarily true regarding the optionee's rights. So that means 3 of these things are going to be true. I'm sorry, 3 of these things are going to be false, and 1 of these things is going to be true. We got 3 false, 1 true. That's a 1. You just can't tell. So is it 1, an optionee can assign or sell the option? 2, the optionee can obtain a mortgage on the property. 3, the option gives the buyer legal title. Or 4, title insurance is usually obtained before the option is exercised. What say you? Yes, and that would be as same as buying down interest. Yes, Precious. That would be the same as buying down interest. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. All right. Haley says 2. Andrea says 2. Anybody else? Again, we're dealing with options. Okay, I got a 1. I got a 2. Let's get a couple more answers in the chat. Again, what's the worst that could happen? You're wrong. We're all wrong at some point. Don't tell my boyfriend I said that. I'm always right. All right, I got another 2. Got 1. An option can help the buyer by giving them time. So I got a 1 and a 2. So let's talk about it. Why not 3? Nobody said 3. What is wrong with 3? Let's eliminate 3. Let's make sure we learned something. What is 3? What's wrong with it? An option gives the buyer legal title. Okay, Haley, you said it. The deed transfers legal title, not the option. Yeah, the option gives the buyer equitable title. Equitable title, the right to claim title later, not legal title. Boop, that's not going to work for me. All right, what about 4? Title insurance is usually obtained before the option is exercised. Well, here's the problem. If the option is not exercised, then all the buyer has is equitable title. And if all you have is equitable title, you can't put title insurance on something you don't own. Absolutely not. You cannot put title insurance on a property that you don't own. That's going to be a problem, and it's for that reason why it's not that the optionee can get a mortgage. This is using the property as collateral. Can you use a property for collateral if you if you don't own it? That's like me being like, hey, bank, I'd really like to borrow $10,000. And if I don't pay you back, you can sell Celso's car. You can foreclose, you can repost Celso's car. What? Celso's like, wait a minute. How did I get involved in this? This ain't got nothing to do with me. I cannot put a mortgage or get title insurance on a property I don't own. But I can assign or sell the option. In fact, sometimes when people talk about warehousing, they do this. Like investors, they'll say, hey, I'm going to get this option. And this definitely happens in the stock market. I'm going to buy the right to buy these stocks at X amount. But if stock prices go up, I could sell that right to buy stock at a certain price to another person and make even more money. So there you go. And you said because option cannot give. Yep, there you go, Elena. Exactly right. It gives equitable title, not legal title. Did that kind of clear it up for people? Because this one is hard. This whole concept of an option can be a little bit at first like off-putting. You're like, but what? Wait, what's happening here? So this is the class. This is the time where I'm your teacher. Regardless of wherever you went to school, I'm your teacher, and I want to make sure it makes sense. Yes. So that means our answer is not 2. Our answer is, in fact, 1. Yay! Love it. Love it. Is this good? Is this helping? And I know you all are taking notes, so I got to calm down. I want to make sure I'm helpful. I feel like I need to talk to my therapist. Why do I always need to feel helpful, like I'm helping somebody? She'll probably be like, 'cause you're cray. 'Cause you're crazy. All right, good, helpful. Yay, good, good, good. So I'm going to keep doing this. I think breaking it down, and sometimes it'll be me, sometimes it'll be me and Chris, sometimes it might, like, I think I have a wedding to go to one weekend. You all will get another person just for that one weekend. You know, so I don't want it to just be me. I want you to experience how other teachers explain these questions too, because that's going to help you. All right, numero 8. Which of the following statements regarding the interest on a long-term amortized mortgage loan is true? Which of the following statements regarding the interest on a long-term amortized mortgage loan is true? Is it A, unless otherwise provided, interest is usually charged in arrears? Is it 2, the interest portion of each payment that's not you all. The interest portion of each payment remains the same throughout the entire term of the loan? Is it 3, the monthly payment will remain the same, and out of each monthly payment, the same amount will be applied to principal and towards interest? Or 4, amortized loans must have a floating interest rate. What are you thinking? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Or can you eliminate one of these answer choices for a reason? Anybody eliminate anything? So Haley, you're saying it's 2 or 3. Is that what you're eliminating? Or are you saying that 2 or 3 are the right answer? And same with you, Andrea. Is 3 the answer, or is 3 what you're eliminating? Sorry, I asked y'all like so many questions. What do you think the answer is? Now tell me what you think is going to be eliminated. That's my fault. It's like when the cops are like, put your hands up. Don't move. Put your phone down. Wait, put them up. Put them down. What do you want me to do? So, Marsha, you're telling me you think either 2 or 3 is right. So you all think either 2 or 3 is right. All right. Anybody else have a guess? Anybody else have a guess? Okay, 3. All right, well, let's talk about these. Let's start with 4. 3 should seem wrong because 3 is wrong. All right, well, I think you all knew that amortized loans that must is a big problem. They don't have to have a floating or an ARM interest rate. When you get a car loan, generally your car payment stays the same. It's the same amount every month because your interest rate never changes. Most of the time. Right? So, let's talk about why 3 is not correct. This would be like an ARM. Well, an ARM would have a floating or moving interest rate, and it doesn't have to have that. It could be a fixed rate. All right, number 3. The monthly payment will remain the same out of each monthly payment. And out of each monthly payment, the same amount will be applied to principal and towards interest. Well, we know that's wrong. We know that's wrong. We've done this math. Remember when... Okay, let's do it this way. Let's say I want to borrow $355,000. And I want to borrow it at 4% for 30 years. I would find out that a factor, right? If this is a fully amortized loan, this information is all used to find a factor. So this is where I go to this chart. Let me clear it. What did I say? I forgot that quick. It's 4% for 30 years. Cool. So, at 4% for 30 years, I'll blow this up. You see where these meet? That gives me a factor of 4.77415. 4.77415. 4.77415. 4.77415. 4.77415. That's your factor, which means you're paying $4.77 for every $1,000 you borrowed. Well, if you've got a loan for $355,000, you divide that by 1,000 and you get $355. So you're going to pay $477, $415, $355 times. This factor we know is a rate of P&I payment. Just like if I said sales tax is 8 cents, you know it's 8 cents for every $1 you're purchasing. Well, for a loan payment, your P&I payment, you pay $4.77 for every 1,000 you borrowed, and you borrowed 355,000. So, where's my handy dandy calculator? 355 times 4.77415. That gives me a monthly P&I payment 1694.82. So it'll be $16.94.82. That is your monthly P&I payment. So in the first month that you owe money, you're going to write a check for $16.94.82. But remember, some of this is principal and some of this is interest. Well, how do I know what to do? I know the interest is 4% for a year. So if I borrow $355,000 for 1 year, I would owe $14,200 for a year. But it's only been 1 month. It's only been 1 month. I'm not paying you $14,000 because I borrowed money for 1 month. I'm going to divide this bad boy by 12. 14.2 divided by 12 is $1,183.33. So even though you wrote a check for $16.94.82, $1,183.33 is going towards interest. And the difference between $16.94.82 and 118.33 equals $511. $511 and 49 cents. Let's call it $511 and 49 cents. So yeah, you wrote a big bad check for $1,600, but you only reduced how much you owe the bank by $511. So now, instead of owing $355,000, you owe them, let's see, $355,000, subtract 511.49. That's going to be $354,488.51. That's your new balance. And guess what? This is payment 1. Payment 2, you're still going to write a check for $16.94.82, but your new balance is this right here. You're paying 4% per year on this amount. So what am I going to do? I'm going to say $354,488.51, and I'm going to multiply that by 4%, And then whatever that answer is, I'm going to divide by 12. So 354,488.51 times 4%, that gives me $14,179.54. Well, last time it was 14,200. This time it's 14,179, I guess. But let's divide that by 12 to find a monthly, because that would be for the year. And that's going to give you 1,181.62. So this time when you pay your mortgage payment, you still wrote them a check for $1,694.82, but this time $1,181.62 is interest. And your principal would be minus 95. Your new principal would be $353,306.89. That makes sense? What did I do? I think I skipped a problem here for you all. This is the interest. So if I do 1,694.82 and I subtract 1,181.62, did I do that right? I don't think I did that right. Hold on. I think I skipped a step. Hello, I skipped a step. What? There we go. Don't be late, Nino. That's okay. That's okay. So let me try that again. Let's take this 1694.82 and subtract out. What am I doing? Hold, please. Candace has just lost her position. Here we go. We found what the annual is. This is annual. I just got all confused myself. We divided it by 12 to get 14,179.54 divided by 12. That gave us the 1,181.62. And I take the 1,182.62 subtracted here from the 1,600. Okay, I'm with you now. I'm with you. Subtract the 1,694.82. And that gives me a difference of 513.19. Now that's better. So then we're taking this 354,488, because that was our new balance, and it's going to be 513.19. 354,488.51 now, which is 353,975.32. I think I did do that right the first time. I just got lost in my own sauce. Y'all, this is a lot of math. It's a lot of math. But here's the thing. Did you notice every single month we paid $1,694.82? We paid $1,694.82. What changed is how much is principal and how much is interest. How much is principal and how much is interest. And all of this stems from the fact that, coming back here, the monthly amount will remain the same. That's true. But out of each monthly payment, the same amount will be applied to principal and towards interest. That's the part that's wrong. We know how much goes to principal goes up and how much goes to interest goes down. Now, I know I said I wasn't going to do math, but this is what I mean for my California people. You may not have calculator math, but you know what you do have? Questions like this that want to check to make sure you understand the math concept behind it. You don't need to bust out with a calculator, but it didn't make sense why 3 wasn't the answer unless we understand mathematically what's going on. And for that reason, we know 2 is not right either, because the interest portion of each payment does not remain the same. It goes down. which means there's only one right answer here, and that's going to be, unless otherwise provided, the interest is usually charged in arrears. Well, yeah, that's true too. But let's talk about why. Today is June. This is June, and then this would be May, and this would be April, and this would be July, and this would be August. So let's say there was a closing today, which is May 6th. Well, the last time the seller made a payment was on the 1st. And when the seller makes a payment on the 1st, they're paying for May. And on May 1st, they were paying for April. So that's what we mean, is that your interest is paid in arrears. On June 1st, this seller paid for borrowing for the whole month of May. That's what arrears is about. And this person's first payment, this buyer's first payment, is not until August 1st. Why? Because August 1st will be what they owe for July. And on July 1st, there is no payment because this is what interim interest is. At closing, we collect all that interest so that there is no payment here. We pay in arrears. You pay, it's like what you do with your gas bill or your water bill. You pay for what you used. So on August 1st, you're paying for using the money in July. On June 1st, this seller with a different loan paid for the fact they borrowed that money for May. That's what it means to be in arrears. Right? Oh, that was so much. That was so much. But guys, I have to go. I have to go do some stuff. I like the 3 o'clock Eastern time. I think I'm just going to keep it. But as we have more people and there's more questions, I will try to see if I can go longer or even get like another teacher to, to help fill this up. Because I'm just doing this out of the kindness of my heart. But I want you all to hear it, especially with the math. Maybe I need to have like Chris Barnett, the guy who does some of that stuff on my channel. He is a math genius. You know how I just got lost in the sauce with that math? Wouldn't have happened with him. So maybe I can start with the questions and then he can end with some math for us or something like that. Or I'll get other teachers. If you have a favorite teacher, I'll ask them to come. The goal here is that if you're not with a live teacher every day, you have someplace you can go. Tell your friends, regardless of whether they're in Prep Agent or Aceable or whatever. I do this to help people, so if there's nobody to help, that would be yucky. So, bring some people with you. Tell others about Fri-YAY Par-TAY. I just, if the more there is, the more the merrier, and the more people there are I can help, then the more I love doing it. So, thank you. Oh, yeah. Oh, Sabrina, you're late. It's okay. But you know what? There's always the recording. And did you all see that I've already made the links for upcoming weeks every week at 3? And then one of my friends said, why don't I call this? What did she call it? She said, why don't you call this Prep and Pass Live? Prep, like we're preparing for the test, and pass live. She's like, I love Fri-YAY Par-TAY, but she's like, it doesn't tell anybody what you're doing. I was like, well, because they're not in the know. You got to be in the know to get all this. And I was like, prep and pass live. I guess. You all think about it. I like Fri-YAY Par-TAY, but prep and pass live is more professional. Anyway, guys, anyone from Georgia, and where can you find this recording? You are, just go to my YouTube page. So when this ends, there'll be a recording that you can watch, right? Right. You going to reschedule your date, Sabrina? Okay. Hey, look, we can work you in for some tutoring. We can do some of these lives. It's about getting y'all to pass. And yes, bring people from Georgia. Marsha's asking if there's anybody else. Bring people so that I'm not, not that I'm wasting my time just with y'all, but you know what I mean. Cool beans, one of my favorite words. Guys, I'm going to go do something with this. This is Your test is Wednesday, Bean. You know how to reach me if you have questions. And especially, I've got Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the webinars. So you can always ask questions there. Again, I got to do something with this. I look like I'm 5. Guys, I got to go. I love doing this with you. Thank you for hanging in with me. And I'll see y'all on Monday. Bye, everybody.